Welcome to TDC, and have we got some drama for you? This week, we talk Elon Musk and Grimes, Denise Richards and Brandi Glanville, Jillian Michaels, and Lizzo. And then Stef tells us the story of Linda Lovelace, and I tell you the story of Tammy Faye and Jim Bakker. Stay tuned.
What up, fam? It's good, y'all. Feels good, right? Yeah, I know it, dude. And without further ado, we broadcasting live from CA to...
This is an Earth Cafe. Y'all are open when the Earth is open.
Which honestly might not be for long.
Oh, that was a dark ass joke. Grimes and Elon.
Grimes trapped his ass, guys.
Cause that's the best internet thing happening, I think. Because the memes are hilarious.
Yeah, the memes are great, and it's bringing together all different parts of the internet.
Yeah, and I saw everybody speculating what's their baby gonna be called? Grimes 2. Model
X.
Yeah, whatever.
What a weird couple.
The weirdest couple. And somebody had a picture. Do you remember in Toy Story when that weird kid across the street makes that face monster?
No, I remember the bad kid.
He takes a head of a doll and puts it and they're like, this is Elon Musk and what's her face's baby. Remember this thing? Grimes' baby.
That fucking spider baby.
Yeah, Babyface is the name of it apparently.
Oh shit.
He also produces music on the side.
Shout out to Babyface and Tony Braxton.
Yeah.
Okay, now aren't you disappointed in Amber Heard? She should have trapped his ass.
Oh yeah, Amber Heard. But Amber Heard doesn't have it in her.
Girl,
She had several opportunities to trap several men, high-powered men, and has failed time and time again. So I'm not expecting much from Amber Heard.
I know.
I saw that she has a hair commercial. Good for her.
Oh, I saw that too.
I mean, she's got to make her own money because.
Her ass is gonna get trapped by some nobody.
Of course, yeah. James Franco is gonna trap Amber Heard's ass.
They're kind of problematic. They could be together.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a good couple, actually.
James and Amber Heard.
Yeah,
for sure. Good looking and dumb. There's some Real Housewife news because Brandi Glanville.
Yeah.
And Denise Richards. So Denise was on this season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Mm-hmm. Brandi was previously on for a few seasons, then left.
But she's like Hurricane Brandi. Wherever she goes, there's trouble.
She's crazy. And they still kind of keep her on, kind of like how Camille was still doing little segments here and there when she quote unquote left.
Right.
I think if you leave on good terms with Andy Cohen, he'll still throw you a bone.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But the Maloof, he was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck he didn't want anything to do with her. But anyways, so big, I guess it's still a rumor. And Denise is denying it.
Oh, I didn't know she's denying it.
Yeah.
Apparently, Denise Richards walked off of the set of Real Housewives and has yet to return because the other women brought up what was a secret, which is that she and Brandi Glanville have been having an affair.
Right.
Which, according to Brandi, she spilled the beans about because she thought that Denise and her husband had an open marriage.
That's right. Okay, I remember now. That's how, and then of course, if you watch the show and you know Brandi, of course she did that.
Yeah, because she has a big fucking mouth.
Yeah, she knows shut up.
Yeah, she can't control herself.
Yeah, so then Denise obviously got pissed. And now this is spreading everywhere. And no, sure, her people are denying that this is true.
I think, did NT say anything yet? Because I feel like he
was going to say something and then Harry and Meghan happened.
Oh.
Because I actually just listened to one part of his Harry and Meghan thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, so today was supposed to be about.
Oh, shit. Yeah. That was crazy. That's juicy gossip. I love everything about that story.
Yeah.
Because it's like behind the scenes drama. It's an affair. They've
Yeah.
outed them as having an open marriage, which
Yeah.
I think we kind of knew that though.
With Denise and that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Yeah. I mean, she was with Charlie Sheen too. She maybe like that's her vibe.
Yeah. That's what Auntie says.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He
That's
says
cool.
that because we've talked about it before, how Auntie says that Denise used to be one of Heidi's girls.
Right.
And so that's what she's used to because that's what she knows.
Right.
So it's like, oh, you want to fuck a sex worker? Whatever. Like, that's nothing to her. Like, whatever. So.
Right. She understands.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's super. I mean, it's awesome. That's awesome for the Real Housewives. Honestly.
It's so juicy.
It's so, yeah. There's a lot going on there. Fucking Brandi Glanville.
Yeah. Good on them for always bringing her in to stir the pot, like keeping Brandi close. Because sometimes,
because she's a hot mess.
Yeah.
And she don't care. Like, she just, like, she's not, because a lot of them, you could tell often are trying to, like, be this person, like, be this character and have this reputation and image that they're trying to uphold. So you could tell, like, they're holding back or
they're towing the line. They're trying to play both sides of it. Sometimes like Lisa Rinna, who's messy.
Yeah.
But still, she's like, Lisa Rinna, her husband is fucking Harry, what's his name?
Hamlin.
Like, she can't be a hot mess. Or at least she shouldn't be. But Brandi has no ties to anything but mess.
Right, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Seriously.
Oh, yeah, that shit was funny. You think it's true though, or you're holding back judgment?
I don't know. I kind of hope it's true.
I hope it's true too.
Right? Like, I wish that. I don't know why Denise would want to keep it private. Maybe for her kids. Maybe
that's true
for her family. People don't understand that, and people are hella judgy.
Yeah.
So. Okay, all right. Now I'm like, okay, well, maybe I understand why she would maybe want to keep that private. But Brandi Glanville, what a bitch.
I also don't think Brandi is a liar necessarily.
Right. She is very honest, almost too honest.
Yeah. So that's another part of it. So I'm curious to see how it plays out this season.
Yeah. Do you think it's true?
I don't know, because I kind of saw Denise as more square than that. Like,
me too.
If it's true, then good for her.
But she surprises me. Like, just the fact that she was with Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, true.
Like, I don't know.
And she tweeted out like a dick print of her husband too. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're right. She does some surprising shit. So this could
more
be up
to
there.
Be seen there. Yeah.
Yeah. Stay tuned. The other thing I wanted to talk about was, did you hear that Jillian Michaels story? It was super fucked up.
So I only heard like after the fallout. I don't know the details, so give it to me. That's so corny.
Hold on, let me try to find a quote. Okay, so a couple of days ago, the famous personal trainer Jillian Michaels decided that she wanted to comment specifically about Lizzo's body, which is such a fucking weird thing to do. Like, why would you comment on somebody else's
anybody's body? Comment on your own fucking body and mind your business.
Yes, exactly. Well, she says, R.E. Lizzo, quote, "Why are we celebrating her body? Why does it matter? Why aren't we celebrating her music? Because it isn't going to be awesome if she gets diabetes."
Ugh.
So it's like she's trying to hide this judgment of another woman's body with this like faux concern about her health or something.
Right. Where I saw this going viral on, I think, Twitter or Instagram, and it was like, please spare me like that kind of fake concern, like that, whatever, that she's overweight. And obviously that does cause health problems.
Right.
But what about the mental health problems that you cause by like forcing all women to want to be like a twig or whatever?
Right. To conform to whatever it is that you
consider a beauty standard.
And newsflash, skinny people are unhealthy too.
Exactly. Like some skinny people are like have eating disorders, obviously, and like how about just don't work out because they're like, well, I'm skinny, like whatever. Exactly. I don't have to like take the extra steps.
That was me for a long time. So I heard that, but you know what I mean? Like, you can't just outwardly judge someone like that without knowing their fucking business.
Right. And so what I saw going viral was like spare me like the fake concern about like whatever us standing Lizzo and what that means for like this health shit. When like we stand all these fucking rappers and people that do drugs and drink and like we don't fucking ever turn around and judge them and be like, oh, what are you doing to your fucking body? Like,
right.
You know, did anybody ever tell Lil Wayne, oh, like this is so unhealthy for you?
Yeah, no, we would never think to comment on a man's body like that ever.
Of course not.
Ever.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's a woman, I think makes it so much worse.
Yeah, a woman doing that to another woman.
Yeah, it's fucking shitty.
Yeah.
So
but, I mean, and like we're not. How about like nobody's fucking dumb? Like nobody's saying like everybody get fat and like just eat what the fuck you want or whatever. It's just empowering to see a woman that doesn't conform to those beauty standards actually fucking love herself against all the negative energy that gets.
Right. Against all odds. Like,
yeah, right?
No,
like
no one wants her to love herself and she fucking does it.
Yeah, seriously. And then it's like nobody's saying like, hey, everybody fucking eat whatever, like eat like shit, get diabetes, die young.
Yeah. Live fast, live fat, die young.
That's my motto. Put that shit on my gravestone.
So the internet came for Jillian, of course.
Yeah, because you're wrong.
Yeah. And also another thing, the co-host of her show, or I don't know if it's still on, but The Biggest Loser, he had like heart attacks, like several heart attacks.
And he's thin or?
He's fit. He's a personal trainer just like her.
Right. And so I think there's a lot of pressure with those people too, dude. Those people do mad drugs to stay fit like that. Those people take extreme measures and do extreme diets to be fit like that. And like, I don't know if like we need to be celebrating you motherfuckers either.
No, exactly. How about that? So Jillian Michaels had to put out a Notes app apology.
Ah, yeah.
She said
2020, baby. First Notes app apology of the fucking decade. Jillian Michaels, you skinny bitch.
She needs to get an award for this, honestly. We should make her
Let's
like a little gold statue.
Yeah, for sure.
So she said, as I've stated repeatedly, we are all beautiful, worthy, and equally deserving. I also feel strongly that we love ourselves enough to acknowledge that there are serious health consequences that come with obesity, heart disease, diabetes, cancer, to name only a few.
Yeah, we already know that.
We know that. I would never wish these for anyone, and I would hope we prioritize our health because we love ourselves and our bodies. But then what are you doing? Then that's not the way to achieve that.
No, it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't see her ever coming for any white who's right.
Mm-hmm. White women. Mm-hmm.
White women.
When did this statement come out? When Adele was huge. Mm-hmm. We could talk about Adele lost a lot of weight too. Oh, that's fucked up, huh? Yeah. When Adele was big. That was fucked up. My bad. My bad. I take that L on that.
But you know, the issue with Adele is that I think that actually men, I think, would sometimes come for Adele, but Adele is fucking gorgeous. Like,
she's gorgeous.
She's fucking
her
gorgeous.
Her face is like, I think she fits. What is that standard where it's
the
like perfectly
rule?
Symmetrical? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like, I think that kind of takes her far away, like to where people don't really comment on her body as much as ordinarily.
Other beauty standards, very, very fucking well. So the fact that she's overweight is like kind of overlooked. Right. I get it.
Yeah. So, but that's some gossip too. Adele
is thin,
skinny as fuck,
kind of concerningly so fast.
But we don't see her though.
That's true, I guess. Like, but weren't there pictures of her rapping like recently? Remember at that karaoke bar, and she wasn't that thin.
But she was much thinner.
She was much thinner. You're right. Yeah. But so like, what is that, like a year? And I remember like when I was probably like 13, I think I lost like 30 pounds in a year or something. Wow. And my doctor was like, this is considered anorexia. Like, you're not supposed to lose weight that fast. It's bad for you.
That is so much weight.
I know, it was a lot. But I was 13 and insecure, and I was like, it's time for me to be thin now.
Right.
Yeah.
My time has come.
Because Jillian Michaels is going to call me a fat diabetic bitch.
So the first, I just Googled, or I just searched for Jillian Michaels, and the first thing that comes up is a headline from USA Today that says, turns out Jillian Michaels is 100% in hot water.
You tried.
That's a good one.
Yeah, you tried, guys. That was great. 10-10 effort.
Yeah, I think Lizzo dragged her.
Yeah,
From,
she did, and I didn't see it, but everybody says that she did a naked response on a video and said something like hella
what?
sassy, which I didn't watch. Because
Oh
Lizzo
man.
also quit Twitter.
Oh, she did.
Yeah, she said like
Because
this,
of this.
not because of this, just because she says that it's negative, which
Mm,
it is. I mean, all social
yeah.
media has its negative connotations, and I think when you're famous, probably even worse.
Oh, for sure.
Because now you have like, I mean, if you have 100 followers versus fucking 5 million,
Yeah.
obviously.
And there's always haters.
Oh yeah, no matter what you do. That's what I was just
Yeah.
thinking. Like people are gonna hate no matter what.
Right. You just have to let that shit roll off you, honestly.
Yeah, like Chrissy Teigen, remember she was posting pictures of like her on vacation because people were dragging her for having like a flat ass.
Oh yeah, I
And
remember
then like
that.
people
Yeah.
talk shit about her having a flat ass. People talk shit about the Kardashians having fake fucking asses. Ain't nobody happy. We're
Yeah.
all fucked up. And this all stems from capitalism.
I thought you were gonna say misogyny.
We could bring this back all the way back, guys. Vote.
Vote or die.
Vote or die.
The other day, I was taking a shower and I was like sitting there in the steam with my eucalyptus essential oils.
Oh, you flex. This is a flex, man.
I started thinking, you know how, you know how that be.
You know how that be. Yeah.
I'm working on the theory that everything is either politics or fashion, except for politics, which is fashion, and fashion, which is politics.
Oh, fuck, man.
It's
How high were you at this time?
that eucalyptus hits differently.
That was true, though.
Can't we agree that capitalism is an economic system? A system for the production and distribution of things we need and want?
I won't agree to that. Not until you say something about government, too.
Welcome to the Drama Club, y'all.
Welcome to the Drama Club, guys. My name is Stephanie.
And my name is May, and like
This
I said,
is-
this is the Drama Club.
This is the goddamn Drama Club. We got drama. I probably shouldn't use the Lord's name in vain. Excuse me. I'm sorry for all of our religious listeners.
Oh, well, they're going to be real mad at my story today, but go on.
Ooh. Oh shit. Okay. Mine is very different than if
Oh,
yours has
really?
anything to do with religion.
Okay. So this is a podcast about scandals, mostly.
Celebrity
Drama.
scandals, biographies.
Yeah, politics, fashion, politics,
Shower problems.
eucalypti.
Welcome to the Drama Club.
Welcome. You know what I keep forgetting to tell you?
No, I don't, because you haven't told me.
That there is a Spanish version of Men's Not Hot.
What?
Yeah, and but it's not by that dude, Big Shaq. But it goes y la cosa hace pra Scooby Doo ba ba.
Oh my gosh, I need to listen to that.
That shit is a bop.
Did you see that video going viral of that fat boy in the suburbs?
Oh, who's like we're in the
Bra-ba-ba.
suburbs, but
It's like, we in the motherfucking suburbs. Bra-ba-ba-ba. What the fuck's up, Jack, or whatever? And that guy's like washing his
Washing his
BMW.
car.
He's like, hey, how's it going? Hell yeah.
When we were at the Rose Parade, you know how they usually have a flyover by those like jets or whatever,
Yeah.
and they make a noise, and then as soon as it flew over and it made that noise, I said, "We're in the ghetto."
That kid was so funny. Yeah.
Ra-da-da-da. And all the white people around us did not get it, but Jazzy was dying, so I was like,
Yeah.
all right.
That one was a good video. Dude, that kid, right? His glasses and shit.
Yeah.
He's so cute.
Ra-da-da-da.
So we got a
Ooh.
twofer. Oh, what's up?
There was a story about J-Lo.
What about her?
She's being sued by $40 million for for hustlers, for
Oh,
producing
the actual
hustlers.
girls?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that happens. I could have seen that coming. Remember when Forrest Gump too, like the writer of the book, then sued? Like when the movie becomes a huge hit, they inevitably want more money for their. I mean, it's their fucking story.
Yeah, but they didn't. They asked, her production company asked for permission for their stories, and they didn't give it.
What?
Yes, and they just made the fucking movie anyway. So this is different.
Oh shit, that's crazy.
Yeah, that seems like that seems like a lawsuit waiting to happen. But I think that it's like a gamble, you know, like if the movie's not a hit or whatever, then nobody's going to come for you. And if the movie is a hit, then hopefully there's enough money to go around, you know, you settle. So,
Right. Yeah, they'll settle with those girls for sure.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about Linda Lovelace.
Did you watch the movie?
I watched Lovelace.
Lovelace,
Yeah, that movie. And then I also watched a documentary called Inside Deep Throat,
Okay.
which was also about that. And I watched like a lot of
Inside
YouTube interviews.
Inside Deep Throat is very highly rated, right? Documentary.
It's really highly rated. It's more about just Deep Throat. Like I had to look elsewhere for more about Linda.
Okay.
So Linda, for those of you who don't know, was a famous pornography actress and then later activist.
Mm-hmm.
She was born in the Bronx, New York.
Hey, BX, stand up.
In 1949. She grew up in Catholic school, and her family, she describes her family as not really being happy. Her dad was never at home, really.
Is that her real name?
No, her name is Linda. I don't know what.
Okay.
I didn't write it down. Her mom, she describes as just like unloving, like cold.
Oh, man.
And growing up, she said she was super conservative. People nicknamed her Miss Holy Holy in high school because allegedly she never put out.
Oh.
But then in other memoirs, she describes herself as showing signs of wanting to be an exhibitionist early on. Like she says, like she started constantly masturbating at like 11, 12. And that she would like try to undress in front of the window and like, yeah. So that's something I probably should have written in the beginning. Like Linda goes back and forth a little bit. So kind of make your own decision about what you believe or don't believe.
Well, both of those things can also be true, like, because, you know, people, especially kids
Catholic,
and high school, like, they'll just fucking say whatever, you know?
That's true.
And, it could have been both of those things.
That's true. At 16, her family moved to Florida following her dad's retirement from the police department in New York.
Oh.
At 19, she gave birth to a child, which she gave up for adoption.
Okay.
I couldn't find any more information regarding that.
Wow.
She then moved back to New York on her own, where she was involved in a very bad car accident. She was hospitalized and she required a blood transfusion, but the blood she was given didn't go through proper screening because this was like, this was probably like 1961. So this led to her being contaminated with hepatitis and would lead to ongoing issues throughout her life.
Okay.
Following the accident, Linda moved back home with her parents, where she met this dude named Chuck Trainer. Their relationship blossomed as by now she was, as she describes, really into sex, and so was Chuck. So they together began engaging in group sex, regular sex, oral sex, sex.
I feel like you should never fuck a guy named Chuck. I just think it sounds like a bad idea, honestly.
Well, if that's your theory, this is going to be the example that will prove that theory. You're going to need a couple more, but this one will definitely lend to that. Mm-hmm. So the relationship was okay at first, but Chuck is an abuser. Linda said at first he was very charming and attentive, but slowly became extremely violent and abusive. The first thing that she remembers as being weird is that she smoked cigarettes, and she had like casually mentioned to him that she wanted to stop. Mm-hmm. So he hypnotized her. And
I take it he's not a trained anything.
I fucking doubt it. Okay. And then she said later he would keep hypnotizing her to stop other quote unquote bad habits.
Okay. He's a psycho.
They both moved back to New York, where she said he began pimping her out for sex work and later forced her to marry him.
Oh, no.
When he first told her he was going to start having her perform sex work for money, she refused, and so he held a gun to her head, and he said he would kill her if she didn't do it.
What the fuck?
He then shoved her into a room and initiated her into prostitution with a gang rape by 5 men who paid him.
What the fuck? No.
Linda describes this as the turning point in her life. She said that at that moment, she felt like an inflatable plastic doll just being thrown all over the place, kind of blacking in and out of what was happening.
And she's still pretty young?
She is probably like 20, 21.
Uh-huh.
She said she felt as though the men were playing musical chairs with her body. And she will later always comment on this and says that this event was the most frightening thing that's ever happened to her.
I mean...
Right.
Yeah. I can't imagine anything more frightening than that,
Seriously.
honestly.
Shove a gun to your head and then
Right.
get raped while the person you love.
Oh, yeah.
Linda describes her marriage to Chuck as being like a prisoner to him. She wasn't allowed to move out of his sight, even to use the restroom, where she says he used to watch her from a hole in the door.
What?
Yeah, he's like this is a level of abuse which is like extremely frightening.
Yeah, because there's something wrong with him.
Oh, yeah. And he's super violent. And
Yeah.
she says that oftentimes he would sleep on top of her at night to make sure that she wouldn't fucking leave.
What the fuck?
He listened to all of her phone calls. He would constantly point guns at her, threaten to kill her. She
Do you
said
ever sleep under a guy and it's like a weighted blanket?
Yeah, sometimes like I like when Joel will just lay on top of me. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
that feels good.
That shit feels so good.
It feels like, yeah, exactly like what I imagine a weighted blanket is.
Yeah.
So anyways, Linda says every day she was mentally abused by Chuck. Physically, almost every day she was being abused by him. He isolated her. He cut her ties off with other people, which is a really standard abusive move to look out for if you have any friends who are dating someone who you think might be sketchy. Linda said that throughout her marriage, Chuck would allow men to rape her for pay.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I know.
You know what I'm thinking too? Oh, and obviously with the caveat that I'm not a psychologist or anything, but you have the mother who's cold towards you, and now there's a man who's giving you attention. I mean, the attention is in the form of abuse, but it's something.
Attention. Yeah.
So that must give you conflicted feelings about that. Maybe you think, oh, maybe this is what love is. This is what it means to have someone show you
Love.
affection.
Or you don't even know, right? Because you have nothing to compare it to. Yeah. So Linda then began performing under the name Linda Lovelace in hardcore loops, which were 8mm silent films made for peep shows, which again, she says Chuck forced her to be in or else be murdered. Oh, and at this point, he started also threatening the lives of her family. In 1969, she starred in a bestiality film titled Dogorama. And I think we can all guess what that film entailed.
Oh my God.
Later on in life, when she gets kind of famous, she denies ever starring in that film. She says that it wasn't her, but some nerds uncovered the original loops, and then came the receipts.
Oh God.
So then she turned around and said, I mean, it was me, but he had forced me to be in it. Co-stars then started coming out against Linda, saying that she was a willing participant in all of these films, but they didn't necessarily know what was going on with Linda and Chuck.
Right.
Which really bothers me. To think that like only physical abuse exists or something like that. You know?
Yeah. But they were saying that now or back then?
They were saying that back then when Linda kind of flip-flopped. Like she was like, that's not me. And then she was like, oh, actually, he forced me to be in it.
Yeah.
People were like, he didn't force her. She was like willing and when we were filming and stuff. Well, like, yeah, at that point, because she's fucking scared for her life. In 1971, she starred in a film by the name of Piss Orgy, which again, pretty self-explanatory right there. And then finally, in 1972, she starred in the gigantic pornographic film called Deep Throat.
Is this the most famous porno of all time?
I mean, it's got to be like top 5, if not, right? I mean, what's that other one? Debbie Does Dallas, which is pretty fucking famous.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So in this film, you guessed it, Linda performs deep throating. The compelling plot is as follows.
Okay.
Linda's character can't have an orgasm via vaginal intercourse, and her physician discovers that her clitoris is actually located in the back of her throat. So that's why she begins performing this type of oral sex, basically on recommendation from her doc.
You know what? I'm not mad at that plot.
It's not. It's like kitschy, like
Yeah.
I don't know, like, and oh my god, I was gonna tell you, in Inside Deep Throat, John Waters is interviewed. And I saw what you tweeted, and I was dying because he looks exactly like him.
Yes, he does. Steve Buscemi.
So May tweeted a picture of Steve Buscemi dressed as John Waters, which was like John Waters' Christmas card.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Fucking awesome. Yeah. So prior to this film, this particular move had never been seen in mainstream pornography or any other industry.
Deep throating?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what they say in the documentary.
Yeah.
So this was huge. And the movie was...
It's the moon lander.
It's up there.
To boldly go where no one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
And the movie was like fucking crazy popular amongst the regular public, not just people who watched pornography. And it even got a review in the New York Times, which was fucking huge. Yeah.
And you have to remember that this isn't now where it's you turn on your computer and watch porn. You had to go to the movie theater to watch this movie.
Right. You had to like jump through hurdles and shit and like possibly be seen on your way to get turned on. Yeah. Like
you had to buy a trench coat and shit.
Yeah. So there was all this provocative buzz surrounding this film, and it was so big, it started playing in regular ass theaters at night.
Wow. And
it became the first moment in history where like regular middle class women were going to watch porn in theaters with their husband, because again, like Maine said, that's not something that people were doing.
Wait, what was it rated?
I mean, it was like it was a porno. Yeah, it wasn't rated by like the regular. So shit just like hit the mainstream. Dr. Ruth is interviewed in Inside Deep Throat, and she says like at this time, people who were like into like the sexual revolution and everything, we thought that this movie was going to change like the entire climate of sexuality in the United States. Like that's how fucking big it was. And the movie became obviously one of the first highest grossing pornographies of all time. So the film became huge, and obviously Linda then becomes a star. But don't forget that she's still in her hell of a nightmare marriage with Chuck.
Oh yeah.
And specifically in Deep Throat, you can see bruises on her legs, which she said she was receiving from beatings from Chuck during production.
Wow.
The director of the film later also came out that behind closed doors, everybody knew that Chuck was hitting Linda. And somebody who was staying in the hotel room next to her said that he could hear Chuck beating.
That's so fucking sad.
Linda, right. A female actress, Gloria Leonard, also said around this time, not around this, later on when Linda starts talking about Deep Throat, she says Linda loved to lie. She never took responsibility for her own choices. She never took responsibility for ending up in the porn industry. And Linda kept seeing all this backlash about what she was saying in regards to her marriage and the abuse that she was in. And so she took a polygraph test in order to verify her claims because she was so tired of this shit.
Wow. She was fed up, man.
Yeah. And the polygraph test supported that Chuck had forced her to have sex with 5 men or be killed, that she feared for her life if she tried to leave him, that he was hypnotizing her, that he beat her into the prostitution business, that he beat her during the filming of Deep Throat, and that when they went out, he forced her not to speak unless spoken to, and that she had to ask for permission to use the toilet. Which if that's
psycho, man.
I know, dude. Like, how could anybody look at that and be like, oh, she was
right.
It was all her, you know?
And literally, like, what else is there? Like, every time you said something new, I was like, damn, what else can this man do?
Besides kill her, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deep Throat ended up making $600 million in profit.
Shut the fuck up.
In the 70s, May.
What the fuck? Well, it probably cost like 2 cents to make.
Oh, yeah. Linda says she doesn't know what she was actually paid because Chuck controlled all of her money, and that all she ever sought from that movie was $1,200.
Oh my God. I hate that.
So Linda then became Hugh Hefner's homegirl because Hugh was like, at this time, in the set, like Playboy was huge. Like this is when the Playboy clubs happen and Playboy at Night is going on.
Yeah.
And Hef is going on like late night talk shows to defend Playboy against like the feminist movement. And it's like, so he's like, he loves her. She's like, you know, he calls her the new sex goddess and shit.
Yeah, because she's like the poster child for everything that he's trying to
achieve.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she posed for Playboy, then she posed for Bachelor magazine, she posed for Esquire, all in 1973 and 74.
Mm-hmm.
She started partying pretty heavily, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Her fame was at an all-time high.
Mm-hmm.
And so she says that at this time she begins casual drug use, which, again, pretty sure we could all put two and two together as to what that was.
And she's still with Chuck?
She's still with Chuck, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
In the wake of all this porno hype, President Nixon put together a commission on obscenity and pornography led by this dude named Charles Keating, aka Mr. Clean. Do you know who Charles Keating is?
No.
Oh, we should do an episode on him, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so they set to put together studies on the harmful effects of pornography and how watching pornography leads to juvenile delinquency.
Okay, Kellogg. Remember that fool? It said like sugar makes you touch yourself or some shit.
I don't remember that.
Oh, that's why they invented Kellogg's, the cereal, because he wanted to invent something bland for little boys to eat so that they wouldn't touch themselves. Because too much flavor makes
Kellogg's
you touch yourself
without putting sugar in the shit.
White people, Mormons or something.
Oh man. So they did all this research, and then none of the research supported their theory.
Hey.
So the commission
waste of taxpayer money right there.
Right. So the commission published a report concluding that pornography doesn't degrade morals of adults or have any correlation to crime whatsoever.
Yo. And they put out that study, or did they try to squash it?
Keating tried to squash it, but eventually it came out.
Okay.
This all led to federal, state, and local laws that were preventing consenting adults from obtaining pornography materials to be repealed. So it was huge.
Yeah.
With the crossover success of Deep Throat, Linda tried to then finesse a career in film. She starred in this play called Pajama Tops in 1973, but that was a huge disappointment and closed after like 2 days. People also particularly called out Linda's performance as being pretty bad. And honestly, she's not a great actress in Deep Throat. I mean, like she does the acts well, but the acting is like, you know.
Okay, I see.
In 1974, she starred in Deep Throat 2, which was released as an R-rated sequel. So it didn't have like the sex, like
yeah. I don't know if that's a good move.
I don't either, because you're kind of like taking away what made it appealing.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was panned by the press, both for the film and for Linda's performance. But in 1975, Linda finally broke it off with Chuck.
Oh, thank God.
She had tried twice before, and the last time she said that he told her he was going to shoot her sister and her sister's son if she didn't come back.
Oh, my God.
But she stayed the fuck away from him and stayed strong.
Okay, good.
She was then starred in this movie called Linda Lovelace for President, which is corny as fuck. It's like her going on a campaign trail for a presidential campaign on a route of the U.S. that's mapped out in the shape of a penis.
And is she having sex with guys along the route or something?
Not really, but
no. Okay.
No. It was a flop, obviously, and after 3 consecutive busts, it looked like her movie career wasn't going to pan out like she'd hoped.
Okay.
All in all, her movie appearances add up to 5 hours of screen time.
Oh.
In 1976, she gave it a final go by agreeing to star in an erotic film called Forever Emmanuel. But the production for this movie struggled as Linda was by this time hella on drugs and hella drinking. And she ended up refusing to do any nudity, which for an erotic film is obviously very difficult. She had told production that God changed her life, and they ended up dropping her and replacing her with a French actress named Annie Bell.
This is, it's like softcore?
It is, yeah. It's like you could describe it as that, I guess. Yeah. Her co-star in Deep Throat had a similar downhill career. he looked for crossover roles, even getting cast to be in Grease at one point before Paramount cut him at the last second. But he liked the same. Like, he thought like, oh my God, Deep Throat made it into the mainstream, so I can too.
Yeah.
So after like nothing was panning out for him, he went back to pornography. But at this time, he was now a heavy drinker and drug user, and he could no longer perform pornography.
Oh, no. And
So
this is before Viagra.
So he then became homeless and started panhandling.
What?
I know.
This was a man who starred in a $600 million movie.
Right. And before that, he was like a well-known pornography star. I should have wrote his name down. I don't know. I didn't. He don't matter. This is about Linda. In 1976, Linda went suburb.
We're in the suburbs.
She married a cable installer by the name of Larry Marciano. She had a daughter and a son, and she moved to Long Island.
Hey, living the dream right there.
But at this time, her liver started having problems related to her heavy drug use, drinking, and the hepatitis. So she began going through the liver transplant process. She said that for a few years, the marriage and motherhood, it brought much needed happiness and stability to her life.
Yeah, she deserves it.
She does. But then she had the problems with her liver, and her husband lost his business, and the family had to uproot to Colorado under really stressful circumstances. So it ended up not being good in the end.
Yeah.
In a later memoir, Linda actually says that Larry was a drunk who would verbally abuse her and her kids. And they did divorce in 1996, but they remained friends throughout the rest of her life.
Yeah, that's something like that must be tough because he's marrying Linda Lovelace.
Right.
Of TV, of film fame. And guess what? Like, just Linda is not that.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, do they love me? Do they love me? Or what is that in Notting Hill? She says, fuck. And she's quoting a very famous actress. They go to bed with whatever and they wake up with me.
Yeah.
Who says that?
Yeah.
It's a very famous actress from the 50s.
I thought that was just her in the movie saying that.
No, she's quoting somebody. Anyways. And it's like, do they really love me? Who knows? That must be so hard. I don't even like myself. Like my regular ass self. Anyways, in 1980, Linda shocked the public when she published an autobiography by the name of Ordeal. She disclosed at this time all of the abuse that she had suffered against Chuck.
Wow.
And announced that she was joining the anti-pornography movement.
Whoa.
So this was huge. She went on a full-blown campaign followed by her new bestie and leader of the feminist movement of the time, Miss Gloria Steinem. She became a very active member of the Women Against Pornography groups and said that she herself had been abused and coerced into sex work and sex films.
Yeah.
So she became a speaker at like colleges and even government hearings having to do with pornography regulation. And she spoke about her own experience with the exploitive practices that she experienced in that industry. Famously, she testified before the Attorney General's Commission on Pornography and said, quote, "When you're watching the movie Deep Throat, you are watching me being raped. It's a crime that movie is still showing. There was a gun to my head the entire time."
Wow. Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus.
Later on, though, in a few years after this kind of calms down and everything, because for a while she's like really out there and putting herself out there against the anti-pornography movement. And then she kind of retreats again. And then she publishes another memoir where she actually latches out against the anti-pornography movement as well. So this is where I'm saying, like, Linda, she goes back and forth a little bit.
Yeah.
But I understand what she says, too. She says that she felt used by them. That she felt used by Gloria and all of them. She never got much help or pay for her speaking engagements. And she says that they didn't help her to get out of the industry that they were so very passionately against. They just fucking talked about it.
Yeah.
So she rounds that memoir out by saying, I was objectified by both the pornography and the anti-pornography movements.
Wow.
Which is fucking powerful.
She's not wrong.
She's not. Yeah. In 1987, Linda finally got the liver transplant that she needed
Oh, thank goodness.
due to the car accident way back in 1970.
Oh, that must mean that she's clean too, right?
Yeah,
Because they're
she
not going
has
to
to
give
be.
you a, yeah.
No, if you're a user, they won't give you and if you don't take care of yourself at all, they're not going to
Right.
give you a transplant. She really calmed down after that, and you didn't hear much about her until 2001 when a little show by the name of E! True Hollywood Story came and knocking,
Hey.
and they did a whole ass episode on Linda, which I was not able to find that on the interwebs. So if anybody has the hookup,
They need to put out those original episodes.
like on anything, Hulu,
Yeah.
like any streaming platform, on your own
Amazon.
fucking streaming platform.
Yeah. Mhm.
Because I have like the E1 on my Roku.
The app.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
like it's not on there either,
Mm-hmm.
just the new ones. So this gave her some updated attention. And then in 2002, she did a lingerie pictorial as Linda Lovelace for the magazine Leg Show.
Oh.
And like people were kind of hating on her, like, oh, like you said that you weren't into this shit or whatever the fuck. And she's like, but this is me making the choice for myself and being sexy under my terms.
There you go.
Yeah. And then on April 3rd, 2002, she was involved in a second serious car accident. And this one ended up being worse than the first one.
What the fuck?
She suffered massive trauma and internal injuries and fell into a coma.
She was driving?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then on April 22nd, 2002, she was taken off of life support and died in Colorado at the age of 53.
Oh my God.
Her ex-husband, Larry, and her 2 children were by her side as she passed.
Oh.
Super tragic life, I think.
Yeah.
And like I was saying earlier, people always try to discredit Linda's own telling of her life and marriage to Chuck and her experiences in the pornography industry. And in this documentary on YouTube called The Real Linda Lovelace, which is based on one of her memoirs, they start with a question and they go, was Linda the star or the victim of Deep Throat? Which I think is kind of fucked up.
No, it's super fucked up.
A psychiatrist, Dr. Herman, said that they do studies on like her memoir and her career, and the details are consistent with the diagnosis of complex PTSD.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And other psychologists have these theories that Linda was maybe very abused by her parents, which led to this fragmented personality in the aftermath, which led to the career in pornography.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Chuck ended up dying 3 months after Linda due to a heart attack.
That motherfucker was still alive?
Seriously.
Jesus Christ.
Following his death, Linda's sister publicly said that she was disappointed that he died before she had the opportunity to kill him.
Oh, there you go. Get you a sister like Linda's sister.
Hell yeah. Nonetheless, Linda became a superstar off from a home movie.
Yo.
Which crossed over into the mainstream media. We only really see that happen now with celebrity sex tapes, not like regular pornography movies. In 2008, a musical based on her autobiographies was released called Lovelace the Rock Musical. In 2013, a feature biographical film entitled Lovelace was released, starring Amanda Seyfried as Lovelace and Peter Sarsgaard as Chuck Traynor. I watched that one. It's good. And there's a lot of good people in that one.
I have that movie on DVD. I've never watched it.
It's on Netflix, I think, or Hulu even. I don't know. You don't have to. But it's cool. Like I like Peter
Amanda,
Sarsgaard, and I like Amanda, and Big is in it, and Adam Brody. I mean, James Franco's Hugh Hefner. Yeah, there's a lot of people in it. It was a box office failure, but mostly positive reviews. And that's the story of Linda Lovelace and Deep Throat.
That's a good one.
Hey.
That's a really good one. I didn't realize that her life was so complicated.
Yeah.
Wasn't Lindsay Lohan supposed to play her in that movie?
Yes, and then something happened. And yeah, because she's a hot mess.
Yeah, especially back then.
Yeah, definitely. And I like that for Amanda. I thought that's a cool choice for her.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there is a lot of like nudity and just a bunch of shit, you know.
He's in business to make money. There's the basis of the capitalistic system, the profit motive.
All right. Well,
I know. So you said religion, and I'm like,
yeah.
Ooh.
But you know what? There's some interesting parallels. Like when you were saying certain things, I was like, ooh, this is going to come up in mine. So
Nice.
do you notice that happens a lot?
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
we
drama's
don't
drama.
like we don't plan usually we don't plan like a theme around what we're going to do when we both do an episode, and then but there's always like something that sort of crosses over.
Crossover.
Yeah.
It's because we're in line with the moon, man. You and I, you, me, a bottle of wine.
And a pot of frijoles, am I right?
Bitch, you're my soulmate. Did you see I posted that?
What?
Oh, it's a screenshot from Euphoria.
Oh, no, I didn't see it.
I posted it on the Drama Club's story.
Okay, I'm gonna go look at it. Okay, so this week I'm doing Jim and Tammy Faye Bakker.
Oh, okay.
This one has everything. It has sex, religion, pills, scams, mascara.
Ooh, I love mascara. Did you see Jose sent us a package?
What?
I know. He sent us like the screenshot of it. I was like, what is it? And he's like, you have to wait.
What?
Hi, hater.
Okay. Okay, so for this, I watched an episode of 2020 called Unfaithfully Yours. And I rewatched the documentary The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Ooh.
And also consulted all the Wikipedias, of course. James Orson Bakker was born on January 2nd, 1940 in Michigan. Tammy Faye Lovelace was born on March 7th, 1942 in Minnesota. I've met so many people from Minnesota lately.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, are they all, I mean, I get it's cold over there. Are they all just like coming
Winter
over
bunnies.
here?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
They should just get an electric blanket. I mean,
Get you a man that lays on top of you.
Yo, there you go. You don't have to uproot your whole damn life. Just get you, a weighted blanket man.
It's a flex. I'm gonna start telling people that I'm from Minnesota when I'm in LA. Like, I'm not even from here, okay? I just hang out.
Anyway, Jim grew up in one of those no dancing, no warm liquids, because that's the devil's temperature.
Ooh, Footloose?
Yep. Type household.
This is like
definitely.
This is like that
Kenneth?
fucking guy. Yeah. Kellogg. Porn is gonna make you do crimes and shit.
So he basically, he grew up in the town from Footloose. Meanwhile, Tammy Faye's parents were both preachers until they divorced shortly after her birth, and her mom kind of stepped back a little bit from the church. So they both had fairly similar backgrounds. In 1960, Jim and Tammy Faye were both students at North Central Bible College in the big city, Minneapolis. Shout out.
Hi, hater.
Shout out to Prince. So as soon as Jim and Tammy Faye met, it was motherfucking fireworks.
Ooh.
They probably held hands so hard.
Purple rain, purple rain. They held hands so hard.
Gloveless and shit.
I like holding hands. I do.
Do your hands get sweaty though?
Yeah. But my hands are always cold, so I don't know.
It's no dry humping, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, God.
So it must have been really hot and heavy stuff because they had 3 dates in 1 week, and Jim proposed on the 3rd date.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
That's what happens when you're not allowed to dry hump, honestly.
How can you have 3 dates in where the fuck were they? Minneapolis.
Minneapolis.
What is there to do 3 times? There's
on the first date, you jump into the lake like in Purple Rain.
Oh yeah, that's right. On the second day, you go get an ice cream. And then on the 3rd day, you hump or what?
No,
you get
not for
engaged.
them. You're not allowed. Yeah.
Oh, you get
date,
engaged on the 3rd date. My bad.
On the 3rd date, you throw your hat in the air like Mary Tyler Moore. Young love, baby.
That's what's up.
And they were married the next year on April 1st, 1961.
Ooh, joke's on you. April Fool's Day.
So our newly married couple decide to take their show on the road. They travel all across the U.S. preaching in the shape of a penis at Pentecostal at Pentecostal churches. They were going hard for Jesus all over these United States. Jim Jim would preach, and then Tammy Faye would sing and play my most hated instrument, the accordion.
Ooh, I do not like an accordion either.
I hate accordions.
And I hate that in Mexican, what is that? When they have the fucking accordion.
Like banda?
I hate banda, me.
Yeah.
That's the one with the tuba. I fucking hate that shit. It gives me a fucking headache. I'm like, what is this? The Latino population would like to trade any people who enjoy that kind of fucking music.
Those were those Germans who came to Mexico.
I know, dude.
Yeah.
Tell me about
But they
it.
brought sausages, though. So
I fucks with sausages, but not that fucking accordion.
I also hate the ukulele, too. So
Ukulele?
Ukulele. I hate it. It's like nails on a chalkboard.
What's a ukulele? The little one?
It's that little guitar.
All right. I'm not
Like-
mad at it. That's funny that you don't like that. That's like a pleasant sound.
Like, you know, the Over the Rainbow, the like Hawaiian version?
And that guy frightens me. Talk about, okay, how about that, Jill Sanders or whatever the fuck your name is? What's her name? Jillian Michaels? My bad.
Oh, yeah. Like
Talk
that.
about somebody who's 700 pounds, okay? Where were you when Fat Joe? Why are you hating on our girl Lizzo?
Is Fat Joe still fat?
I don't know. Was he losing weight?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's
I
good
think
for
he
him.
might have gotten gastric bypass.
Oh, that's the problem, though.
Lean back. Uh,
No, but
Okay,
that
so-
Hawaiian dude who plays the ukulele, he's like,
Yeah.
like, dangerously large.
he died, right?
He
Is he
did.
dead?
Yeah. I mean, he was
Yeah?
like 700 pounds or 600 pounds or something.
Wow.
Yeah. He had a little ass guitar, sir. Stop.
Dangerously Large is a good title for something. That could be like
My autobiography.
yeah. Stand-up special. Oh my god, did you watch Alana's stand-up special?
No, but I want to.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's
I
all right.
watched Who Was Dating. That's an awful way to reference someone. I'm sorry. I can't think of her name. Who was dating Chris Evans?
Oh,
Jewish comedian?
yeah.
Female?
Oh god, I love her. Fucking
You don't
does
love
the
her
voice-
enough.
She does the voice of Marcel the Shell with
Yes,
when
and
she
she's
was
also the voice on Big Mouth, which I like a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. What the fuck is her name?
I don't know. I'm gonna look it up because that's
Yeah.
fucking rude to only know her by association.
The first thing that came to mind was Abby Elliott, but that's wrong. She was
Yeah,
her co-star on SNL, but
Jenny Slate.
yeah, Jenny Slate. She's so fucking funny.
I watched her Netflix special when I was flying home from Mexico, and
Mhm.
I didn't like it.
I watched it when I was in France.
Did you like it?
It was
It was-
whatever.
It was like a whole movie.
Yeah, I did like that part, like when it was like her in her house with her sisters. and
Yeah,
stuff.
it's cute, but I was like, all right. There's better specials. Ali
Yeah.
Wong came out,
Ali-
guys. Like that's
Yeah,
the standard, right? Like,
yeah.
yeah. Anyways, I want to watch that, but I've been watching Good Girls.
Oh hell yeah!
I'm on like episode 9 of season 1.
How hot is that guy?
He's fine, that Mexican
Yeah,
guy. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, you know
So
that's my
fucking
type.
fine. Yeah,
Ooh,
that's
baby.
my type.
That's my type. That's my type.
Yeah, he's so fucking fine.
Those collared shirts all the way up. I'm like, ooh.
Ooh, ooh. In the second season, you see his apartment, and
Ooh.
girl, let me tell you something.
Okay.
I thought he was fine before, but then I saw his apartment, and I was like, oh shit.
That's what's up.
Started dry humping the TV.
I would like to hold hands with that. Very hard. I'm sorry. Continue.
So anyway, so they're traveling across the U.S. and they do this for a couple of years until they settle in South Carolina.
Okay.
There, they link up with a dude named Pat Robertson, who was and continues to be a big-time televangelist. Let me just break in here to note that I don't know if you guys realize, but this world is extremely separate from my world. Like, I don't really know a damn thing about evangelical Christianity outside of knowing who Jim and Tammy Faye are.
I don't even know what you're saying. What were you saying before that? That they were what kind of preachers?
Pentecostal.
Pentecostal? What the fuck is
Yeah.
that?
It's like, like a Baptist,
Oh. okay.
whatever. Like,
These are like these subsections within Christianity, right?
yeah.
Yeah, we're getting in deep.
Right. And yeah, so Pat, like, and I know that Pat Robertson is like the CEO or Pope or whatever of like this whole movement.
Okay.
Uh, we'll get to why Jim and Tammy Faye fell off in a minute, but Pat Robertson continues to be basically the most famous, most powerful dude in this community. And Pat Robertson is also a hateful, vile person. I hate to say it. Sorry to this man.
Is this the same as who's that guy that Kanye has been preaching with?
That's Joel Osteen.
I hate that guy.
Yeah. He's like that guy, but worse.
Okay.
This guy, Pat Robertson, he, just for reference, he's like, among the most disgusting things he believes and preaches to his followers are that natural disasters are caused by homosexuality.
Oh, shit.
Something that he repeated in the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, where, let me remind you that 1,800 people died during Katrina, and this is what this motherfucker had to say.
And there is scientific proof for what fucking happened.
Right. Ugh. And
it
also,
wasn't rubbing butts.
And if it was, what a way to go. And in the immediate aftermath of the 2010 Haiti earthquake, where 150,000 people died, at least, we actually don't know how many people died, but he blamed Haitians for making a pact with the devil to free themselves from slavery after their rebellion in 1791. So
he thought they should remain slaves, or?
Yes, yeah, basically. He said that because of their pact with the devil to escape slavery, that's why their nation was destroyed, basically, in 2010. Or yeah, it was 2010.
What is this? How? And this person has several followers.
Yeah, so
and this is
fuck
why
this guy.
Climate change is real. I'm sorry. Vote, everybody, vote.
So fuck this guy. Needless to say, I mean, no disrespect to Christianity in general. I only mean to disrespect this person specifically.
Right. Me too. Like, I don't know. When I say things, like, I don't want to disrespect people's religion. I think religion could do so much good, but
yeah, same.
But not this.
Right. This is not, and it's a bastardization of your religion, or what it should be, right?
Honestly.
So anyway, now I've said it. We can move on.
Okay.
So Pat Robertson owned what at the time was a small station called the Christian Broadcasting Network, or CBN. This was back in 1964. So basically this was like a regional public access channel type thing. An audience of a few thousand at best. So this is like super small time. Pat Robertson gave Jim and Tammy Faye their own kids show on the station, and their show was called Jim and Tammy. From what I can tell, it was modeled after a Mr. Rogers type thing. And they used puppets to preach to kids and teach them lessons and shit. Nothing particularly revolutionary, but the show popped the fuck off. P.S. Have you seen that new John Mulaney special, Sack Lunch Bunch?
No, it's a musical, right?
No, not really.
Oh, okay.
There's like a couple of musical numbers, but it's not. That's not.
I want to see it because I see like stills of it and it looks amazing.
It's hilarious.
All right, I gotta watch it.
Like, I left my body a couple times when I was watching it. It was
really
so fucking funny. Also, I was faded, but
all right.
I hate when you second guess yourself when you're faded and you watch something. You're like, was that really funny? So
I know the other day when we were talking in the group chat, I was faded and I was laughing so hard, and I was like, "Am I being as funny as I think I'm being, or am I just like really faded?" I don't remember what we were talking about. I think it was when you were saying that you were broke, and I sent you that oat milk thing, and I was like, I was dying.
No, that was funny.
All right, good.
Okay, anyway, off the strength of Jim and Tammy, Pat invites Jim to host a telethon type show called The 700 Club. This is a show that is still on to this day. Jim kind of created a new thing altogether when he started hosting the show. He modeled it after The Tonight Show. So it became the first Christian equivalent to the secular talk show model.
That's pretty smart.
It's super smart. And Tammy Faye would come on and she would sing and perform and do little bits with Jim. And the audience ate that shit up. Because, like,
I'm sure, yeah.
It's the married couple thing, you know, like,
yeah.
It's cute. It's cute.
Yeah.
And she became well known for her intense makeup looks.
Yeah.
Particularly her heavy lashes and mascara, which sort of became her trademark. So the audience starts growing and growing and expanded to more and more markets. And remember that at its core, the 700 Club started out as a telethon, so they do raise money on the show. And as the audience grows, the money grows too. So now we're on to something. In 1970, Jim and Tammy Faye have their daughter, Tammy Sue, and they're on top of the world. Until word on the street is they started butting heads with Pat Robertson. Pat Robertson started this whole damn thing. So in his mind, he should be the face of this televangelist shit, not Jim and Tammy Faye.
Right.
So in 1972, Jim and Tammy Faye left CBN to try to start their own network. So in 1973, they teamed up with another husband and wife televangelist team, Paul and Jan Crouch, to found Trinity Broadcasting Network, or TBN, which is now actually the largest religious television network.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But things with Paul and Jan Crouch quickly fell apart and they were pushed out of TBN within a year.
Whoa.
Yeah, because they everybody wants to be a star, everybody wants to be the face of this shit. And you can't all do that.
Right. Someone needs to fall back.
Mm-hmm. So now it's 1974, and Jim and Tammy Faye have the potential to be the most famous televangelists in the country, but they don't actually have a show on the air. So they figure if they're going to do this shit, they need to do it on their own. So they don't have to answer to anyone like Pat Robertson, and so they can't get pushed out by someone like the Crouches. So that's what they do. They start their own shit. Ted Turner offered them a time slot on one of his networks to host their own show, the PTL Club, which stood for the Praise the Lord Club.
Ooh.
The show was a lot like the 700 Club. It was a church service / talk show. And Jim and Tammy Faye became Sonny and Cher and Johnny Carson and Joan Rivers and Mary and Joseph all rolled into one. That little show quickly expanded due to the Bakkers' ability to raise boatloads of cash. More on that
Holy
in a
shit.
minute. It expanded into a full-fledged network, the PTL network. And this was a satellite network as opposed to CBN and TBN, who were just buying programming slots from small regional networks or stations.
Right.
So now the Bakkers controlled the only satellite broadcasting station for Christian programming and were huge national celebrities. And you know what that made them, besides powerful, of course?
Rich.
Yeah. So they really changed the game with this whole satellite thing, owning the satellite. And I think they started 3 channels now. So now they're controlling 3 channels of programming and shit.
Holy shit.
Jim and Tammy Faye preached something called the prosperity gospel. The gist of this bullshit is this. All right. Sorry, guys. Again, I only mean to disrespect these con artists. But so they preached that God wanted them and you, the viewers, of course, I guess, to be rich and prosperous. But especially them.
That's what Joel Osteen and those big preachers, that's how they kind of justify their wealth.
Yeah.
They're
exactly.
God wants me to be rich.
Right. So this thing is that.
And take from the people.
Yeah. They're saying the more you give to the church, the more God is going to give to you.
Oh, wow. How to be famous in Central Florida? How to be a god in Central Florida?
It's a pyramid scheme. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you don't give, you'll never receive. So basically, they're doing you a favor by taking your money because God is going to bless you 10 times over.
Wow.
So Jim and Tammy Faye were basically on TV for hours and hours a day, every day, just fucking raking in cash. Some people began to joke that PTL actually stood for Pass the Loot, which I feel was a sick burn. That was pretty great. So instead of a typical network that makes money indirectly from viewers by advertisers paying to air ads and hoping to get a return on their investment by the viewer purchasing the products, the Bakkers cut out the middleman, and the money started rolling in to the tune of over $120 million annually in the late 1970s.
Wow.
And these people don't have that money.
No, they don't.
There's people that are going without to give money to these people.
Because they're giving to God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
on the 2020 special, there were people that were saying that like it was footage from the 70s where they were interviewing people, and they were like saying something like, I don't care what they do with the money. Like they could do whatever they want with the money. Honestly, I guess they're doing God's work. Like, like they were saying, like they don't care if the money is not being used for whatever they claim to use it for.
Use it. Right.
Yeah, which is like, ooh, that's a special kind of, I think, brainwashing. Yeah. Okay. So sometimes people didn't have liquid cash to donate, so they donate mink coats, diamond rings, and even deeds to properties.
Oh, damn.
Now the Bakkers were really on top of the world. And they had their son, Jamie Charles, in 1975, and the public ate that shit up too.
Mm-hmm.
The Bakkers were the unofficial family members of millions of Christian families, especially in the U.S., but honestly around the world, as their ministry continued to expand through the rest of the 70s and 80s. They became low-key influencers, too. BB and CeCe Winans were singers in the PTL house band, and they hit the charts after Jim and Tammy Faye asked them to sing a cover of the duet from An Officer and a Gentleman. Remember that song? Love lifts us up where we belong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And BB and CeCe Winans can, like, sing their fucking faces off, so, like, you know that shit was a bop.
Nice.
And politicians began to realize the power that these people had and that other televangelists had to deliver the evangelical vote. I'm looking at you, Ronald Reagan. So people started to kiss their ass so they could come on their show and be endorsed by them.
Wow.
We're talking real motherfucking power now. That's when the newspaper, the Charlotte Observer, started investigating where all the money was going to. Because, in theory, a lot of this money was supposed to go to creating new churches around the world. But guess what? None of these churches ever showed up.
Right.
So the Observer broke the story that PTL was misappropriating funds, and the FCC started a full-on investigation toward the end of President Jimmy Carter's administration. But surprise, surprise, after Reagan won in 1980, the FCC just dropped any and all investigations.
Ooh.
I wonder why.
Yeah, let's all think about that.
Mm-hmm. PTL and the Bakkers touted the dropped investigation as a victory and proof that this was a witch hunt and that they were being targeted by those on the left.
Wow. Very similar vibes in 2020.
Yeah, right? The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Right.
So they took this opportunity just to get bigger because they were like, we've vanquished our haters. Like, give us more money. We deserve it. Look at us. Like, yeah. Yeah. So everything just like went into overdrive now.
Yeah, because it's like, see, shit's legit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Since at least 1978, Jim had a dream of building the Christian Disneyland. $200 million later, this idea became Heritage USA, a theme park and resort in South Carolina that would eventually become the third biggest theme park in the United States after Disney World and Disneyland.
What?
Yeah.
What do you do? Ride a crucifix? What the fuck?
They had a water park. It was like a water park. They had like, I don't know.
Like baptisms and shit? That's Catholicism. My bad.
No, they're baptized too.
Oh, they are? Cool.
Yeah, but they do that like the full-on one where they dip you in like they dip your whole body in there.
I wouldn't like that. But if I was
that
a child,
sounds traumatic.
I wouldn't have a say.
Right.
Yeah.
Just a quick note on Tammy Faye. Because yes, I think these people were con artists. More so Jim than Tammy Faye, because I think she was just greedy and he was a straight up scammer. But greed is a human quality, and I just think it got the best of her.
Right.
And I think in her heart of hearts, she was probably a good person. And I just want to point out that throughout the early days of the AIDS epidemic, Tammy Faye was a real ally to those affected by the disease. She would bring them on PTL and show them compassion and would embrace them at a time where people were afraid to be in the same room with AIDS patients.
That's amazing, actually, especially being so religious. And
exactly, yeah.
Because the AIDS epidemic was immediately linked to the LGBTQ community.
Right. And
so that's really important, actually.
That's another thing. She was, her whole life had been really supportive of the LGBTQ community. And she got a lot of heat from her fellow evangelicals about that. Like when she would bring members of that community on the show and stuff, they wouldn't like it, but she did it anyway.
Oh, man. I mean, this is an example, like, bad people do good things, good people do bad things. Mm-hmm. You know, nothing is black and white.
Exactly. So I do really, really like that about her. And then like people always asked her about that throughout her life, and she was just like, in my lowest of low times, that's the community that would lift me up. So she was like, of course I had to lift them up too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So she said that her religion was one of love and not hate. So I really have to give it to her.
And that's what religion should be.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, in 1980, there was a 21-year-old young lady named Jessica Hahn. Jessica was a church secretary from Long Island. The pastor at her church was a guy named John Wesley Fletcher. John made frequent appearances on PTL and was always trying to find ways to get in good with Jim so that he could make more and more appearances. Because if you're a preacher, PTL is the big time.
Yeah.
And it's your shot to become a celebrity and also to start making that paper.
Right. Your segregation's going to get popular and hype and shit.
Congregation.
My bad.
Your segregation.
Told y'all I don't know about this shit.
But the thing about John is that he'd been getting a bad reputation around PTL because he allegedly made a lot of unwanted sexual advances toward a lot of the young men that work there.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, so Jessica would babysit John's kids sometimes, and that's how he got to know her and learned that Jim Bakker was her idol. She thought Jim was just the holiest man walking the earth, and she watched PTL every day in hopes of trying to figure out how to live a life of holiness just like him. So one day, John calls Jessica up and is like, how would you like to meet Jim Bakker? And of course, she flips out. She's like, yes. Like,
Yeah, could you imagine?
Right. This is her idol.
Right.
So John flies her out from New York to Florida to meet Jim. And Jessica says that the instant she set foot in Jim's hotel room and John closed the door behind her, she knew things were not what they seemed.
Wow.
She says what happened next is something that she doesn't feel comfortable calling rape, but that was 100% non-consensual and that she expressed repeatedly that she was not consenting to.
Wow.
I don't know exactly what happened. I don't know if it's out there or it just wasn't in the things that I watched, but both Jim and John participated.
Oh, wow. This is similar to Linda Lovelace.
Mm-hmm. Jessica told herself never to speak of it, ever. But when her hero, Jim, never contacted her in the subsequent days to apologize, she said she felt extremely hurt and the feelings of shame and guilt washed over her. Jim later said that he did call to apologize to her within a few days after he had asked God for forgiveness. For the record, Jim and John both claimed that whatever they did with Jessica was completely consensual.
Of course they did.
Mm-hmm.
But then why do you have to ask God for forgiveness? Oh, I guess you're cheating on your wife.
Right. That's
Okay.
what he wanted to ask for forgiveness for.
Oh, okay.
But regardless, Jim offered Jessica money to keep the story to herself. So Jim goes to one of the head contractors at the theme park, a guy named RHOBH, and asks for help to divert $279,000 in funds through him to Jessica, saying, quote, I hate to give them a dime, but do what you have to do to get it solved. Jim then had RHOBH create fake invoices and allegedly kept 2 sets of books to hide his financial irregularities. So then Jessica goes away. Meanwhile, the Bakkers are still living really lavishly. They've got mansions and furs and cars and an air-conditioned doghouse.
Wow, an air-conditioned doghouse. That's
the doghouse. The doghouse was like a big deal. Like it always comes up in all of these things about it. They're like they always show pictures of the doghouse and shit because this was like people didn't.
They're
really...
very glamorous.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, maybe not the best term. Gaudy.
Yeah, yes, they are gaudy.
Yeah.
Okay, so they are really raking in the dough with personal salaries nearing $1.2 million a year in the mid 1980s. Those are their salaries. So that's what's on the up and up. Like that's what we know about, you know?
Right.
We don't know how much
What
money they
else?
were really making. Yeah.
Right.
And now Jim wants to take the fundraising into overdrive because he wants to expand the theme park. But how do you pay for it? Well, Jim came up with a great idea. If you donated $1,000, that bought you a lifetime membership at the resort and you could spend 4 days and 3 nights a year there for life.
Wow.
Yeah, which is a really great deal when you think about it.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. But then Jim knowingly sold way more memberships than there were rooms at the resort. So there was no way that anyone would ever really be able to stay there. It's just impossible. You're open 365 days a year. There's only so many rooms. There's only so many, of
days.
those,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's, yeah. So he's
Oh
he's
my
a fucking scammer.
gosh.
And the good old Charlotte Observer started investigating. I love stories about like journalism, dude.
Me too. Like the one movie.
Spotlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also like the Zodiac Killer because it focuses on the journalistic side of it a lot.
Yeah. Zodiac is good.
That's
You know which one I didn't love? The Post.
The Post. I don't think I watched it.
That was the one with Meryl, and it was like about Watergate.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
It was like super dry.
Hmm.
Then in January 1987, Tammy Faye had a mental breakdown.
Oh no.
She started hallucinating and getting naked in front of the PTL staff.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Turns out she had a pill problem.
Oh.
And she OD'd on Ativan.
Oh fuck.
Yeah. Remember that these people were on TV for several hours a day every day, so I think like the pressure just finally it got to her.
Of course. And they're running the network.
Right.
Not just their show.
Yeah,
That's fucking
exactly.
too much.
And their whole thing is like raising money. So they have like goals and shit, and it's just a lot. It's so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she went straight to the Betty Ford Center. And
Hell yeah.
And when she gets back to PTL, she gets right back on TV, and she and Jim share their struggles with the audience, and it was a huge scandal. Like, this is a famous footage because her mascara's all running, and like she's talking about how, obviously this is very sad for her family, and how she hopes that it'll help her grow, and she big ups God. Shout out to God for helping her get through this shit.
Yeah.
So huge scandal. And at the same damn time, the Observer starts following the money and breaks the Jessica Hahn story.
Oh man.
I think it was like within a week or two of Tammy Faye's drug scandal.
Wow.
So Jim and Tammy Faye say that they were approached by another televangelist, Jerry Falwell, who's similar to Pat Robertson. Like, he's one of these dudes, to step in and take temporary control of PTL while they deal with the fallout of these two scandals. Because obviously something like this is a distraction, and it's bad for business.
Right.
And Jerry is like, yes, of course I'll do this for you guys. It's probably the smart move. So in March 1987, Jim and Tammy Faye resign and vow to clear their names so that they can return to PTL as soon as possible. But Jerry Falwell didn't know that there had been any financial misdealings on Jim's part. It turns out that PTL was actually $65 million in debt and bleeding $2 million a month.
What?
And just remember, they were taking in $120 million a year. So
Yeah,
where
so
the
how?
fuck was this money going?
How, Sway?
Yeah, these are still answers. These are questions that we still don't have answers to, by the way.
Wow.
Anyway.
If you have the answer to this question, 505-539-0556.
So then Jerry claims he heard allegations that Jim had had a number of homosexual encounters, and gosh darn it, that was the last straw for Jerry. Because the rape and embezzlement and fraud were okay, but not this. Am I right?
Right.
Anyway, so now it's a civil war because Jerry refuses to give PTL back to Jim and Tammy Faye, and he then shutters PTL and opens the books to the feds and bounces with the PTL board of directors to like start his own shit. So it's some hostile takeover shit.
Damn.
So he was like, we're shutting this shit down. Have fun with this, the cops.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the media circus around this thing is growing. The Bakkers are always on the news and are even regularly parodied on SNL by Phil Hartman and Jan Hooks. Jessica Hahn is getting dragged through the mud, of course, because that's how we treat women.
Yeah.
PTL viewers that were still loyal to the Bakkers accused her of trying to destroy everything the Bakkers had built. So eventually, Jessica tried to reclaim the narrative, and she actually did Playboy and became a huge star. She said Playboy made her feel clean. What the Bakkers did made her feel dirty.
Hey.
Right?
Yeah.
She became a video vixen and became a regular guest on the Howard Stern show. So my girl Jessica did what she had to do, and I think that she made the best of the situation that was handed to her.
Hey, good for her, man.
Mm-hmm. I think she started dating. She might have even married him. I could be wrong, but the guy from ACDC, the guy that wears the hat,
Oh, okay.
that little like newsboy hat, because she was like
the
in
lead
his
singer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was like in his videos and shit.
Wow.
Jim was indicted on 24 counts of fraud and conspiracy, but not Tammy Faye.
Wow.
Although the public, of course, began to speculate that she had to know what the fuck was going on because she was always dripping in diamonds and wearing fur coats and shit.
Right.
The trial was a shit show during which Jim had a mental breakdown, allegedly, and started hallucinating that the court reporters were giant bugs, and the trial was suspended for 6 days while Jim was institutionalized.
Holy shit.
These people be having breakdowns, though. Like,
Yeah, I mean, she did too, right?
yeah.
Tammy?
Yeah. But at the end of the day, it was all pretty open and shut. They had it all on tape. Jim was on TV every day talking, like taking in millions. And where did that money go? You know?
Right.
Also, they had him for overselling the lifetime memberships. That's like open and shut.
Do some math, my dude.
Right.
Very simple arithmetic.
So he was found guilty on all 24 counts and sentenced to 45 years in prison.
Holy shit.
That day, Tammy Faye sang on the steps of the courthouse. Tammy Faye was left with $1,000 in her name when Jim went away.
Wow.
And she filed for divorce while he was in prison.
Yeah, of course.
She then remarried to Roe Mesner, who was the dude who paid Jessica Hahn off.
What?
Yes. Because he had been like pretty close with Jim. So they knew each other. They were close friends for I don't know how long at that point. But isn't that weird? That's
Yes.
so fucking weird. Roe was later convicted of fraud in connection to this, and he got a few years in prison. He got like 27 months.
Oh my God.
Our friend, defense attorney Alan Dershowitz,
What the fuck, May?
appealed Jim's case and got his sentence reduced to only 5 years.
How the fuck is he in like every episode?
Story, right?
Where? I'm gonna send this for a letter.
And Jim was released in 1984.
Wow.
I just realized he got 5 years and that fool Roe got like 3 years, and Jim
Right.
stole like millions. Upon
Yeah. That we know of, right?
Right, yeah. So he gets out in 1994, although he owed the IRS over $6 million in taxes.
Good.
Jim told Barbara Walters that he was almost raped twice in prison and that he was lonely and missed Tammy Faye. Tammy Faye tried to return to TV, but it didn't really work until reality TV came a knockin' in 2004, and she joined the cast of The Surreal Life along with Ron Jeremy, Vanilla Ice, and Eric Estrada, among others.
Oh, I didn't watch that episode, but wow. I
It
mean,
was
that
a
season.
yeah. She was like the house mother. It seemed like everybody loved her. She would like
that's cool.
pull them together and stuff. She honestly seems like a sweet person. She made mistakes, obviously, but
Right.
yeah. In the 90s, Tammy Faye was diagnosed with cancer and received a poor prognosis.
Oh.
But she beat the odds, and she beat it by the time of her TV comeback on The Surreal Life, and had become a crusader and advocate for cancer patients. But soon after, it had returned with a vengeance and had spread to her lung, and it was inoperable. On July 19th, 2007, Tammy Faye went on Larry King Live to give an update on her health, and it was shocking. Like, I was shook when I saw it. She looked unrecognizable.
She's so thin, right? Yeah.
Yeah. She weighed only 65 pounds.
Oh.
Whatever you think of her, it was really, really sad. And yeah. Anyway, she said that she still felt like God was with her. She ended up dying the next morning, just a few hours after the interview.
Oh, I got chills.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember that like Freddie Mercury announced said that he was gay and had AIDS and then died the next day? That's fucking crazy to me.
She was 65 years old. Today, Jim renounces the prosperity gospel that he preached in the past.
Wow.
And instead sells snake oil bullshit vitamins on Christian TV along with prepper stuff, like survival food.
What?
And like the tents and stuff for the apocalypse because
the apocalypse is because it's the zombie apocalypse, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, TV Christians love the apocalypse. They love that shit.
That's true.
He regularly does stuff reminiscent of his old friend Pat Robertson. Like he blamed a hurricane on President Obama.
Oh, okay.
He also called for a civil war if President Trump is impeached. This was actually before he was actually impeached, so I wonder where he is on that front. He says that God supports Trump's plan to arm teachers in schools. Like he's a real piece of work. He said God told him that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But don't you find it odd that his business is selling survival supplies and he's calling for civil war and like more guns?
Yeah.
No math magician, but it seems like the scarier things get for us, like the better it is for him in his pocket.
Right.
You know what I mean? So maybe don't listen to whatever this asshole has to say.
Right.
He remarried to a woman named Lori, who is kind of like the bootleg Tammy Faye, and she preaches on TV next to him. Yeah, and that's where we are with Jim Bakker, and that's the story of Jim and Tammy Faye.
Wow, that's super interesting, man.
Fun fact, Kevin Spacey played Jim in Fall from Grace, a 1990 TV movie.
Aren't they supposed to have one of the two of them? Of Jim and Tammy?
Kristen Chenoweth is trying to make a musical about Tammy Faye, which I feel like that's awesome. I would watch
that's
the shit
something
out of
to
that.
watch. Yeah. Wow.
She did say something, just like, I didn't know where to put it in, but she talks about like her use of makeup in one of her in the documentary, and she said that she used it like a mask, and she said, people want me to play the clown and I'll be the clown, sort of like.
Oh,
yeah.
That's kind of powerful.
Right. It was interesting.
Yeah. Well, on that note, guys, thanks for listening to this week's episode. Hit us up on Instagram and Twitter at Drama Club Pod, on the website dramaclubpod.com.
On the hotline, 505-539-0556, at our P.O. Box number 27433, LACA 90027. Leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts, and we have an announcement.
You remembered. I did not. So in the new year and the new decade, we're going to change up our episode format. Yeah. So right now we do a mini episode on Monday, a regular episode on Thursday. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a lot. We're going to start doing a mini episode one week and then a regular episode the following week. So one episode a week. Yeah,
still on Thursdays. Look out for that. I think there's like some big topics on our list that it's like impossible to do like in a week turnaround. So hopefully we'll be able to do like some of the big ones coming soon. Right. And you guys are asking for some of the big ones. Stay tuned. And thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
However, whatever with your helmet.